Hello, everyone, and thank you for attending this this community event we have today. I think the last one before the summer break, well-deserved summer break. Well, today I'm really happy because we have I think it's an exciting webinar we've put together, and multi-cloud is obviously it's a huge topic nowadays, and I think it was about time we devoted some specific event on the new features that come with OpenNebula, and also looking at the connections we have with some of the great cloud providers out there. So, well, my name is Alberto Marti. I'm the VP for Open Source Community Relations at OpenNebula. And this is the program for today. I'll just give you a very brief introduction to OpenNebula for those of you who are not familiar with the project. Then my colleague Jim will review those multi-cloud features I mentioned before, and we'll have a demonstration about how to set up a multi-cloud environment with OpenNebula. Then Austin from DigitalOcean, he's been joining us today. Thanks, Austin, for being here and for presenting the infrastructure and the resources that are available for OpenNebula users through the DigitalOcean driver. And Mike as well. Thank you for being here as well to talk about the VULTR, and likewise another great option through the new driver we developed recently. And finally, my colleague Michael will review some of the support and services we have for corporate users and for enterprise customers. Some of them are linked with the new managed services that we provide. So I think the whole event will take around an hour or so. We'll have the questions and answers session at the end. So feel free to send your questions via chat. Just ask you to do that towards the end of the webinar. It makes us, it makes it a bit easier for us to go through the different questions and make sure that we answer, or we're trying to answer all of them. Okay. Okay. So just a reminder that this is part of the community events we've been running throughout the year, and obviously in a remote or kind of virtual mode. Probably next year or after the summer, we'll start planning some kind of hybrid events, but yeah, let's see how things go. Just an invitation for you to follow the different announcements we have, different events and tech days and webinars, mainly for the rest of the year through the Open newsletter and the social media as well. Okay, so a very brief intro to what OpenNebula is now. If some of you are already familiar with the project, you'll be aware that we've been improving OpenNebula and changing the technology in a number of different ways. OpenNebula comes from the private cloud environment, so coming from a place where companies and organizations used or needed a product to virtualize their IT infrastructure and offer the same features of a cloud, but for the corporate users. So basically running and managing virtual machines on a core data center. What we've been doing recently is expanding these capabilities, and also now being able to manage application containers and also Kubernetes clusters from OpenNebula. That's been a major change in the way we manage workloads and offer different features to our users. And from the private cloud, the core data center, as you probably know, we've expanded that concept to also include the public cloud, the hybrid cloud, and edge computing as well. So we've actually turned OpenNebula into a quite powerful cloud and edge computing platform for our different users and corporate customers. The whole idea, despite all these changes, is always been the same. So trying to avoid vendor locking, helping people to reduce their resource consumption, making something that's simple as possible to operate and to deploy and maintain. And that's in that way as well, reduce operating costs. So that's always our objective. Very quickly, some of the main features and the technologies that we support from several virtualization technologies like vSphere and obviously KVM, supporting as well system containers, LXC system containers, and recently incorporating support for Firecracker micro VMs, which is the way we have to, as Jim will explain in a bit more detail later on, the way we have to, the trick we use to orchestrate application containers, so running them as Firecracker micro VMs. So that's actually quite cool. Then obviously integrations with a number of other technologies like Terraform or Ansible, and of course Kubernetes, and providing to all of these technologies a number of shared features like multi-tenant environment, self-service portal for your users, elasticity, and the capability of defining some rules for expanding or adapting your infrastructure and your resources to the real needs of your customers or users, defining complex applications, setting up a high availability environments, federating different instances of OpenNebula, automating provisioning, as we'll see in a second, and this combination of virtual machines and containers, managing all that together from the same place. That's quite helpful. We'll realize that's actually it's been a major turning point for us. And finally, last but not least, the multi-cloud features we're going to be talking about today. So you might be already familiar with how OpenNebula's traditional graphical user interface looks like. So that's Sandstone. What we've done recently is expanding this for that multi-cloud features we're talking about today, expanding that with another specific interface, the one provision tool. Also, we refer to this specific interface as FireEdge. That's the one that Jim is going to be showing you today, how to use it to provision resources in cloud and edge providers. So why this move to from the private cloud to the multi-cloud and edge computing? Well, just bringing you here some details, some market research about the trends in the cloud sector. You are probably very aware of all these changes that are taking place right now. Things like bringing the gradual expansion of enterprise clouds to the edge, to the public cloud first, and then to the edge environments. Adopting a multi-cloud approach and a hybrid cloud approach to make sure that the workloads can operate in different providers, different locations, and making sure that you can move your workloads from one place to another. Things like reducing or minimizing the dependency on some very skilled profiles that might not be available for your company. So having access to managed services, for instance. And as I mentioned, this idea of combining virtual machines and containers and being able for a tool to orchestrate all those different workloads along with Kubernetes clusters. That's also some of the main trends we're seeing in the market. So that's these four elements here as well we're trying to gradually going through and going towards with these changes. More specifically, in terms of offering a multi-cloud solution based on OpenNebula, these are some of the main benefits that we think it provides to our users. So again, having a single management interface for you to manage different workloads, also different providers. For us to develop the tools that make it as easy as possible for users to automate those deployments and making it very, very easy to provision different providers. That way, also reducing vendor locking, specifically from hyperscalers. And as we know, that's something that's preventing some people to move to the cloud. Developing a solution that improves the security of the whole security of your cloud and the way your different teams operate with your virtualized infrastructure. Making sure that infrastructure is available and things like high availability, but also the use of different providers just to make it more resilient to specific incidents that might happen in some data centers. I won't give any names. And obviously, in a general terms, just to help companies to optimize the costs that are associated with the cloud strategy, which, as you know, depend a lot of your dependencies on some of the providers out there. And in general, that's our vision, to turn OpenNebula, and that's what we're doing, turning OpenNebula into something that can actually orchestrate your workloads and manage different kinds of infrastructure, independently whether it's on your private cloud, on premises, or on the public cloud or the public edge, or even in some of the new edge nodes that are emerging, provided by different organizations and companies, and for you to be able to manage the workloads you need across that continuum. And all that's been developed thanks to the support we get from the European Commission. So just, well, this is a slide to say thank you for that help. Okay, so it was a brief intro, as I promised. So I think, Jim, the floor is yours. Let's get into the interesting stuff now.
Hi guys, sorry, it's Jim. So, as Azevedo was saying, we've created the ability to automatically create edge clusters inside of OpenNebula, even if you don't have hardware that you already have. So, if you want to use a public cloud or bare metal provider such as VULTR or DigitalOcean, who we'll hear from a bit, you can. Whether you want to use KVM, Firecracker, or container solutions, you can automatically deploy clusters for all of them different virtualization platforms at the click of a button by using our new FireEdge UI that I'll be showing you shortly. We have new support for downloading images from the Docker Hub, as well as other container and template repositories as well. We also have a brand new revamped Kubernetes virtual appliance that's accessible from the OpenNebula public repo. So when you deploy an OpenNebula cluster on FireEdge, it's done using a predefined lightweight architecture that's hyper-converged and powerful enough to run any workload at optimal performance. It always uses the best place storage backend, which is usually the local disks in the compute resources. So we're going to jump into today's demo. So our environment today has an existing AWS cluster that's already running some virtual machines. We've pre-downloaded an Nginx container from a Docker Hub that resides in a central data store. We'll be using that to provision workloads on clusters inside of DigitalOcean and VULTR that we'll be using on our FireEdge interface. So to start with, we're going to log into Sunstone, which is the main front end for OpenNebula. As you can see, we have an existing AWS environment here with a couple of hosts. As well as this is the template we have that's already been downloaded from the Docker Hub. And we got a couple of VMs that's already running. Using the same image, but we won't be touching them again today. So now we're going to head into FireEdge, which is the new UI. And the way we do this is we're going to add different providers. So to start with, we're going to select from a provision type as virtual. And we're going to select VULTR to start with. We can choose some of the locations that's available. Just give it a name, and then we need to add our API key from VULTR. So in here, you can just copy it from a VULTR UI, paste it in, and then it gets added as a provider. It hasn't created anything just yet, but we have everything there, so we can provision multiple clusters on there from now on. Now we're going to do the same for DigitalOcean. So we choose virtual again, choose DigitalOcean, and again from the locations that's available, And you go to DigitalOcean's interface. We need to generate an API token here. I'm just going to call this one OpenNebula and give it write access. And we need to copy that key, and we're going to paste it into FireEdge. So now we have all our providers created. We can actually go into this provision section, and this is a bit that will actually create the cluster inside of OpenNebula. So from the ones we just created, we'll choose DigitalOcean first. We open that one. And here we need to give it a name, and this is the name that will be present inside of OpenNebula. Then on this configuration section, this is where we need to select like the number of droplets to create, the operating system, what kind of specifications, what size it will be, and the virtualization type. So for today, we're going to use LXC, but you know, can also support other virtualization types as well. From that point onwards, you get a log of everything that's going on. So we generate these through Terraform, and then we use Ansible to configure everything with the OpenNebula software. Just takes a couple of minutes. This one is sped up for today's demo, but in general, the whole process will only take 5 or 10 minutes for a couple of VMs being spun up. And you can see now we've created that. We can see we've got all the information here. We've got 2 data stores, a public network, and also 2 LXC hosts. So now we have that one done, we're going to go and do the same for VULTR. So the same process, we select the VULTR cluster, choose the London one as that's one we requested before. Give it the name of the cluster that will be present inside of Sunstone and the rest of OpenNebula. And here we choose the number of VMs to create, again, the operating system, virtualization types. And here we're going to request a number of public IPs as well. And again, it will go through this short log to provision the VMs inside of VULTR, and then configure everything with the OpenNebula software. See the bottom, now we can see provision's been successfully created. And everything's now been created inside of OpenNebula. We'll just confirm that. So click on VULTR London. See again, we have the same setup with 2 data stores, public network, and 2 LXC hosts. Now we're going to head back to Sunstone so we can provision our resources. So as I said, we've already downloaded a container image from Docker Hub, which is this one here. So to start with, we're going to create a DigitalOcean VM. We'll just call it DO Server 1. And down here, we can select to deploy it specifically in the DigitalOcean data store. So we know it will create it inside the DigitalOcean cluster. Just take a few seconds to build, as it's just a container. In a few seconds, you can see it's powered on and running successfully. Here we're using the same image. So this is still located on a central data store away from both of these clusters. So we'll choose the same one for VULTR. We'll choose a VULTR data store here to ensure it gets built there. Again, you can click into that container now. In just a few moments, it will move from pending into running. And inside of OpenNebula, you can see all this is your day-to-day management tool for, to power on, power off, add disk, storage, network, snapshots, etc. And you can see it's got a public IP here that you can go to from now on. And now we have all of our VMs running successfully, all from a central template. So this is really easy to do. This is our new version 6 Mutara. You can do all of this and download it from our website here. And yeah, there's lots of other providers it supports, and yeah, really good to give it a go.
Thanks, Jim. That was I mean, it was quite impressive, I'd say. Okay, let's have a small, very brief break. I'll launch a small poll just to get to know our audience a bit better. So give me a sec, and there it is. Take a minute or so to get your answers, and then we'll continue with Austin's presentation of DigitalOcean's infrastructure and resources. Okay, 5 more seconds, and I'll show you the result. Okay, so there they are. Okay, interesting. Okay, Austin, all yours.
All right, thank you, Alberto. One moment here, I'll just share my screen out.
Sure.
All right, thank you everyone for joining us today. My name is Austin Black, I'm here from DigitalOcean, and yeah, so I'm here to talk about OpenNebula and multi-cloud and how DigitalOcean fits into that and what our offerings are. And so, yes, I'm a solutions engineer at DigitalOcean. I work with a lot of our customers to evaluate what their business needs are from their cloud, how to optimize their spending on us, make sure they're following best practices, and just generally make sure they're as technically successful as they can be on our platform. I've been at DigitalOcean for about 1.5 years now. It's been excellent all the way through. We have a great group of people over here, and really don't have enough good things to say about DigitalOcean as a company. It's been a great place to be. My past roles include working help desk, sysadmin, software developer. I've worn a lot of hats in the tech industry in my time here. And so if you've got just a broad catch-all type question, I'll do my best to answer it. And yeah, I'm based in Saskatchewan, Canada, which is the big, flat, empty part in the middle of Canada that is generally flyover country. The joke here is that given how flat it is, that if your dog runs away, you can watch your dog run for 3 days. And so who is DigitalOcean? And so DigitalOcean provides cloud computing resources, and we primarily focus on keeping things as simple and easy to use and as transparent as possible. Our pricing is very straightforward. Our products are very straightforward, and it's just easy to generally pick the right product for your use case out of our offerings based on what you're trying to do. We offer compute resources, which we call droplets, which is our term for virtual machines. We offer databases as a service. We offer block storage. We offer an S3 style object store. And we also have a marketplace as well as a few other nice features as well. Our droplets do have different types that they can be broken down into. We have our basic droplets. We have compute optimized. We have memory optimized, storage optimized, et cetera, et cetera. We also offer Kubernetes with built-in auto scaling. That includes a horizontal pod autoscaler as well as a node autoscaler. that you can mix and match your worker pool types with the various droplet types. And we also have a platform as a service, which we call App Platform. And App Platform is really easy to work with. You can just point it at your GitHub repository or a pre-built image, and just it'll work with it right out of the box. Yeah. So what we're going to cover, reasons why I'm here today, are why you'd use multiple clouds. I'll talk about different use cases I've seen with customers using multiple clouds and why they would choose that, what the benefits of it are, why to choose a smaller cloud versus one of the hyperscalers, and why DigitalOcean in particular out of everyone else. And so common multi-cloud reasons are obviously you get to use the best features of each cloud. Google is known for having an extremely robust network. Amazon treats their APIs as promises, and DigitalOcean has extremely inexpensive bandwidth egress. There's also pricing considerations, whether it's for spot instances, for regular instances, for various managed services, such as databases as a service. Using a multi-cloud strategy will let you optimize your ROI based on the clouds that you want to use and what your best fits are. Another common reason is disaster recovery. Like it or not, outages do happen to absolutely everyone. And so having a second cloud that you can fail over to or migrate your workload to quickly will greatly enhance your disaster recovery posture and let you get up and running and help and get you serving your customers more quickly. Location availability is also another big reason. Not everyone has data centers everywhere. And so based on where you need to be and what the costs are in each location, different clouds may be a better fit for what you're trying to do. And of course, performance varies from cloud to cloud. Certain clouds simply perform better with other workloads. For example, I frequently see customers doing machine learning and EDA type workloads over at GCP, but they'll also use us for certain parts of their compute workload or for storage, et cetera, et cetera. So common hyperscaler pain points. And when I say the hyperscalers, I really mean the big three: AWS, GCP, and Azure. Far and away, the number one issue I see is confusing bills. Very frequently, customers will come to me and say, Austin, here's my AWS bill. I don't know what's going on in here, but these big numbers scare me. What can I bring over to DigitalOcean, and what's it going to cost me over there? Companies like DigitalOcean, we focus on making sure that our bills are as transparent as possible, that our pricing is clear, and that you don't get hit by surprise features or anything like that. Very frequently, I'll hear about someone turning on auto scaling or replication or any other type of feature like that, and they'll be surprised at having a sudden $2,000 plus added to their bill. Feature lock-in is another key thing that people would like to avoid. So frequently we see this in IAM and similar type services, but also with other managed services, we'll see customers getting locked to their clouds, which is not a cloud native way to behave and not a way that will let you move your business around more flexibly if you need to. If you have issues with your cloud and you're locked into a feature, then that can leave you stuck between a rock and a hard place. Also, product selection can be overwhelming. So AWS, for example, has, I don't know how many database types of products at this point, probably somewhere around a dozen at this point. Picking the right one can be hard. You have to do a lot of reading, you have to do a lot of research, and even then you're still just making your best guess versus coming to a cloud like DigitalOcean where you can just say, I need a MySQL server. And we go, great, here's your MySQL server. And then you're off to the races. And also surprise expenses. I touched on this earlier, but this also just happens with certain products. So the big one, going to shout out to Corey Quinn on this one because he harps on it quite a lot. AWS Managed NAT Gateway. It just provides NAT translation for you, but it costs almost 5 cents a gig for the data passing through it. And so I'll see customers come to me and say, what is this NAT gateway? What's it doing for me? And why does it cost so much? And I have to go, well, you didn't really actually need that. This is pretty easy to work around. And so benefits of multi-cloud. Like I said earlier, you can take advantage of each cloud's best features, and it promotes cloud native and related practices. If it works in one cloud, it'll likely work in other clouds. And you can benchmark across them and see where your workload is most performant at, as well as optimize for using spot instances of various different clouds. And then also, of course, you can just make sure that you're using the most cost-effective solution from each cloud. So at DigitalOcean, we're very proud of our bandwidth pricing. Very frequently, I'll have customers running heavy compute at AWS or GCP because they have specialized instances or managed service needs over there, but they'll egress their data back to their customers from us because of the cost savings. And so why DigitalOcean in particular? Well, we offer 24/7 free support for all accounts. It doesn't matter what your spend level is. If you're only running a $5 droplet or you're spending $5,000 with us, you will get support on your account. Granted, not all support classes are created equal. If you're spending $5,000, you're much more likely to have an account manager assigned to you, and you'll have an assigned solutions engineer like myself. But every account does get support from us. We have extremely transparent and straightforward pricing. It's really easy to calculate what your approximate bill will be on DigitalOcean based on the size of your workload, what your server footprint is. And our solutions engineers are here to help for infrastructure, migration, et cetera, consultation. We'll help you figure out what the hidden gotchas are. We'll make sure that you have backup plans. We'll make sure that, that as long as it's like feasible to do so, we can get you over to our platform. And we also have data centers around the globe. So we're all over the world, and I will show a map now that shows all of our locations over here. And so yeah, we're in San Francisco, Toronto, New York City, London, Frankfurt, Amsterdam, Bangalore, and Singapore, and we're looking to be adding more regions soon. I can't comment on where those will be, but we are looking to make this map look a little bit more filled out in some of the more emptier places here. And Sammy's point to where Saskatchewan is, that's approximately where I live. And yeah, that's the big flat empty part in the middle of Canada. And yeah, so that's my presentation on DigitalOcean. If you're interested in trying us out, we do have a promotion code for this webinar. It's do.co/OpenNebula. If you use that link, you'll get a $100 credit towards your first bill on us. Thank you, everybody. That's my presentation.
Thanks a lot, Austin, and thank you for that that code as well. So that was a surprise, nice surprise. Thank you, and thank you also because I mean it's quite I know it's quite early for you in the morning, right? So special thanks for joining us today. Well, Mike, before we start with your presentation, just a reminder to the people attending the webinar that if you have any comments or we're also interested in knowing your experience with hyperscalers. So if any of you be using some hyperscalers and you have some specific experience you want to share with the rest of us, just go ahead, use the chat for that, and we'll have a small debate after the presentations today. Well, thanks a lot, Mike, in advance for your talk, and welcome as well.
Thanks for having me, Alberto. And great presentation. I'm excited about your guys' product. So cool of an idea. Okay, so VULTR infrastructure cloud, very similar to DigitalOcean in nature. Just some names, sorry, a little salesy, but we've grown to over 1 million customers with little to no sales, and most of that was just pricing. Similar to DigitalOcean, we offer a cheaper price per VM and bare metal than the major three, as mentioned before. So our locations as well, everybody has the map, and we have these locations in production currently, and then we are expanding to 5 more locations this year. So we'll be adding Mexico City, Mexico, and Sao Paulo, Brazil, Warsaw, Poland, Stockholm, Sweden, and a city undetermined in India. So that'll be pretty exciting for us and our customers coming here this year. I'm excited to see all that roll out. So right now it's a infrastructure cloud. Just we have your regular cloud compute, which is your virtual machine, various different flavors, the bare metals that offered in 2 different flavors currently. And then we offer block storage and object storage, as well as bare metal slices called dedicated compute. So right now, everything is SSD backed, host nodes, bare metal, anything like that. And then our newer bare metal products are NVMe hard drives as well, with NVMe storage there. It's a pretty nice, powerful product. So we're using the 2288s for our bare metal premium tier and 2286 for the mid-tier bare metal servers. So I think you have all these options maybe available to you through OpenNebula plan, which is cool there. Just some major customers. I won't focus too much on the sales aspect, but obviously we have a great company, really cool team of network engineers. Our developers are second to none, and I think that's what makes a good company there, is hiring great people, and that's what they focused on doing. Again, similar to DigitalOcean, who has a very good product, that we also focus on simplicity of user interface. I myself get lost in the AWS console, so it's just not that, and I love that feature about both DigitalOcean and VULTR. So yeah, we're a developer and engineering company, so we built our platform with automation in mind. So we support Terraform, Ansible, APIs very good as well. Our data centers, all 100 gig cable, redundant connections, and we have managed firewalls and load balancers as well to make those deployments similar to OpenNebula, really nice to use for cloud. So just a quick look at what the console looks like. Very, simple to use. The products available are above the top there, and then just your VM name. You click on the VM and it goes into specifics about it. So again, we always focus on simplicity, and I hope we always stay that way. It's I feel like it's a winning formula. So some cool things about VULTR. One, you can bring your own IP space. So if you have an internet routable /24 subnet or larger, just standard internet rules for advertising via BGP, you can run BGP on your virtual machines or your bare metal machines and advertise your own IP address blocks. Something cool that we've seen a lot of people do, customers, is use the second product, which is our direct connect product. And you can connect to us with physical cross connect or through a virtual circuit via packet fabric, Megaport, something like that. Is that customers are using the direct connect product, connecting in to their VM, advertising their IP address space to both VULTR, and then connecting that direct connect to another transit provider that's not used by VULTR, so that they get redundant internet, advertising their routes out via BGP in both directions. I find that pretty interesting, coming from the service provider space, that you're able to do that with a $5 virtual machine and a /24 block, and you've become almost an ISP. The DDoS product, we're under a major revamp right now. So we have a DDoS product, and then it's just about to get better with our new features that are rolling out. So pretty cool with the DDoS mitigation product as well, applicable to virtual machines and bare metals. Just to go over those connectivity options. Again, physical cross connect if you're in the same data center, virtual circuit with packet fabric and Megaport, and then you can always use the IPsec VPN, pretty much available on any platform. You can use these to connect to your on-prem. We can now, with packet fabric, we can connect cloud to cloud. That's really cool. So we have customers connecting Google Cloud and to VULTR, which seems kind of what OpenNebula's product is doing, but they seem to have done it better. I like the centralized, control plane of OpenNebula and the ability to just interact with workloads on clouds, and then you become multi-cloud versus the physical cross connects or the virtual cross connects. Both can be used in different cases, but as you can see, that's where the industry is going, and OpenNebula is on top of that. You can also use it to connect VMs to non-VULTR, and I mentioned that, which would be ISPs, transit providers, and the like. So cool options there. So this is just a standard graphic here of how you would connect your VULTR cloud instances to different third parties and or other clouds. This is available on our website and everything like that. So we are also launching the Kubernetes engine product. Private beta is available today. And you can activate that invitation in your VULTR console. Our beta release in the next 2 weeks, that should be pretty fun. That will, and then the general availability, hopefully this year, and it will have a high availability control plane with node pool autoscaler available when it becomes generally available. I really like this. I work with the cloud native team here at VULTR a lot, and what they have done that I find interesting in my Kubernetes studies is, as we all know, there's Kubernetes, the hard way for installation, which is basically building everything, each component, certificates, etc., storage by yourself. And then there's a kubeadmin, which kind of is just your regular installer. And then you've got like the hyperscaler clouds that kind of install it for you, or the Rancher products that install it for you. Our team has broken Kubernetes apart and built each component, secured each component so that they understood it inside and out. So Kubernetes the hard way, and then figured out a product from that that our developers were happy with, that's secure, so that we can undergo compliance and stuff like that. I found that really cool and really interesting that they took that approach. So happy to be a part of that. And again, give it 2 weeks and we will be in beta release available within your console. So again, just some touch points here. We have object storage available, block storage available, can be attached. That's network attached storage that can be attached to a virtual machine running in VULTR. Ours is our CLI equivalent for interfacing with object storage and block storage. Is if you're good at using S3 and the API and the Amazon command line tools. We didn't want you to have to learn a new product. So ours very similar, resembles these tools. So it's easy to jump and make the transition from Amazon to VULTR. Again, available operating systems for any of these products, pretty standard. I think all the other clouds have these, so in line with those. Another cool feature there, we have an ISO library, which is the equivalent of attaching a CD or USB drive to your virtual machine or your bare metal, where you can install popular applications there on your machines, as well as you can upload an ISO of your choosing and install that on a virtual machine. And then also our recent launch of a marketplace with one-click installs for customers, where they can just go in and click on popular applications with a single click. It's actually, they call it one click, it might be 2 or more clicks, but it's very close in the one-click mentality. Those are good options as well. So that's all my presentation. Just wanted to touch on things for VULTR and wish OpenNebula and this product launch all the best.
Thanks a lot, Mike. And it's great to see that there's also a lot of innovation from your side. I think there's a lot of interesting stuff in there. And yeah, I mean, we all see this trend towards making the use of Kubernetes as easy as possible for our users. So that's definitely something we all have to keep working on. Not easy. Okay, Michael, all yours.
Great. Hi guys. Well, that was really an awesome overview by both of you on the offerings that you guys are providing in the market. I think it's great to really understand the flexibility and the options that you guys are making available for customers. I think from OpenNebula's perspective, we're excited to really be able to extend that flexibility and put those offerings at the fingertips of users and customers. So, this is really quite exciting. So what I'm going to do is just provide a quick overview of OpenNebula. OpenNebula Systems, our company, and a quick rundown of what we offer for enterprises as well. So first and foremost, we're really an open source company. So our primary focus is in leading the development and the management of the OpenNebula software, which we've been doing for more than over a decade now. However, we also provide enterprise support and professional services to organizations that are running OpenNebula in production environments, or those that are simply looking to have the security and stability of being backed by our support and our team. So we're headquartered in Madrid, in Spain, with global offices in the US as well as in the Czech Republic. Here I'm providing just some quick highlights of just how broadly OpenNebula is used by our community of users and our enterprise customers. There are really over 5,000 OpenNebula clouds running, some of them scaling as large as supporting 16 different data centers and up to 300,000 cores. And then down below, you can really see just the breadth of users, which is really spanning across industries, right? And really showcasing how OpenNebula is a production and enterprise ready solution. So, like I said, OpenNebula is open source, available under Apache licensing. However, we offer our OpenNebula enterprise subscription, and that subscription is really the basis for our enterprise offering and engagement with organizations. Our subscription includes several benefits. The first being providing our customers with access to our enterprise edition of the software. Right, it's a more tested and hardened version of the software, which comes out with regular software patches, bug fixes, and minor enhancements. Actually, today we're releasing one of our enterprise edition maintenance releases. It also provides access to LTS releases, or long-term supported releases, which are supported and maintained, and officially supported for a longer period of time. So right now, our 5.12 version is our LTS and will be supported all the way through the end of 2022. So our subscriptions also provide SLA-based support, right? So backed from our support and engineering teams, also, as I pointed out, backed by SLA agreements, whether they're business hours or even our 24/7 SLA. The subscriptions also provide access to enterprise tools, with our knowledge base, which provide, outlined best practices, step-by-step guides, and use cases, as well as providing access to several professional services that our team provides, right? Which include, cloud deployment services, which we can do to help design and ultimately deploy your OpenNebula cloud and get it up and running for you. We have upgrade services, consulting and engineering services to work with you on individual projects that you may have, as well as training services and even managed cloud services. Okay. And now ultimately, with the flexibility offered by an OpenNebula multi-cloud, our subscriptions provide the enterprise support across your entire cloud. The reduced total cost of ownership, right, and the freedom from vendor lock-in really applies squarely across your OpenNebula enterprise subscription. So we recently pulled together a multi-cloud white paper, which is available now for download on our newly published landing page, which is referenced here. Make sure, I essentially just urge you guys to go out there, read it, and provide us any feedback. We'd love to hear back from you. And I think that's it from my side from presentation perspective.